Morning all. Don't know where you are, but Joburg got a pretty hot, sunny week for a pleasant change coming forward. Start 9:30 as usual. Just going to wait on a couple of minutes. Morning. Just give it a few more seconds and we get started. I think going into the future, it looks like level 3, level 4 load shedding seems to be the going forward. So it's a bit better than the 6, I suppose, but it has been pretty hectic for a while now, with guys with 4 hours load shedding, and and you need pretty costly inverters to survive 4 hours of without having any top up from the electricity battery. So there's a lot of adverts coming out now, as you can see, for inverters and all that sort of thing. In fact, I saw one for about 80,000. To be fair, 80,000 can just about power the house off. In other words, I suppose you couldn't have everything on at once, and I'm not doing the geyser. That might have to be separate, but off that you can run just about everything. Not solar heating, like it's true anyway, but it's not exactly cheap. 79.99 or whatever. In other words, 80 grand. But the guys who got the tongue in place, and it doesn't make a noise either. It still needs to be topped up. The electricity's got to come occasionally. Less than the expense of and the diesel from the generator, etc. So it wasn't a bad idea. Obviously, out of the question if 80 grand budget is a bit much, but still, they are coming up with innovative ideas. It's almost like everything else, it needs to fit the pocket. Anyway, it's 1:30. Before we start, anyway, I had a question this morning. Someone came through and wanted to modify the stop loss, and I replied, okay, you can modify it 20 pips away from market. Now, I wasn't quite sure what I meant by that. As I said, it does get quite extensive, this job. I'm trading them every day. I've got other phone calls to make, other people to answer questions to, and I can't spend half an hour on basic explanations of everyone because it's just chronologically impossible. So I just want to throw it out there. If you WhatsApp me and say, I'm in a profit at URAUD, should I modify stop loss? No problem. I can quickly check that. And I reply, yeah, I can modify it to, let's say, 25 pips away from market. Is anybody out there, not the slightest idea what I'm talking about? Does everybody know what I'm talking about? Because you need to know this, because it's much quicker then. I can reply. It doesn't matter if you're going long or short, 25 pips away from market, not points, pips. And know the difference in a point and a pip, basically. Does anybody, if you got that in return, and it didn't have to be this one, I have to be on there, but if you come back and say, my Euro CHF is in a nice profit, should I modify my stop loss? And I can say, yeah, good idea. Modify 20 pips from market. That should be it. Does anybody not know what that means? Because rather clear it up now, because when you ask, and I can answer that question, you know what I mean, number one. Before we go to the next one, let's just start off with that one. Anybody not know what that means? And if you don't know, and you don't say you don't know, thank you, Anthony, then you're not going to learn. And that I find incredibly frustrating. They continue not knowing, continue losing money, and blaming everything else because they don't understand the basics. Right, you got in a short on this one at 58.25, argument's sake. It's come down now on a short to 57.64. Ignore the point. We're not after points, we're after pips. Fourth decimal place, ignore that. And you say, modify your stop. And you say, what to? And I say, well, I think you can modify 20 pips from market. Clearly, if you're going short, the stop will be above. If you're going long, clearly it'll be below. I hope that much is obvious. Don't explain that. Right. Well, 20 pips from market and you're going short, you will be interested in the buy price, not the sell price. If you're going long, you get in on that and you get out of that. I hope to God you all know what the spread is. So, right. So you go in at this, you get out of that. So on a long, on a short, you go into that, get out of that. So 20 pips from market will be 20 pips above that price there. So if it's 157.70, that would be 1.5790. If you're going long, 20 pips from market would be 1.5745. Are we all clear on that? Because I haven't often, I'm sorry, don't be rude, I haven't got time to go into extensive explanation of something like that because another call's coming through or the company ought to speak to me on something. So that those speeds the matter up. And plus it's for your sake as well, because then you want to be in control and back to looking to your other trades. If I spend half an hour on that, you might miss the boat. You know what I'm saying? So those sort of things we can clean up. Because without doubt, I'm telling you right now up front, I would say at least 95% the problem with trade at the moment is people just have absolutely no idea what they're doing. Not the slightest clue, and even the basics. This is a complex, sophisticated international market, and they're battling to do 2 and 2 is 4. You know what I'm saying? You've got to clear those basics up before we go to the next step. If you still can't change gear, how can you possibly become a car mechanic? You know what I'm saying? And those basics we can clean up. And when I do come to a question like that, I like to discuss it. So, you know, kill many birds in one stone, for whatever the word is, by you know, just suddenly realize you think you've done, people don't, let's bring it up. And someone saying, goodness, I own to these says, well, I'm not sure. Fantastic. Then we can cover it. And in fact, it's quite simple. And that little thing I thought you understood now is understood. It's like how many people still can't even partially close. There've been a platform trading, I'm sure they cover it, I don't know, it must be. And they still don't know that. In other words, they think if they're in 5 micros, they think they'll close the entire amount. They don't have to close part of it, so often cover that as well. Okay, so those things cleared up. Okay, right. So anything like that, I beg of you, on bended knees, please ask and I'll explain, because we don't want to lose money simply of something we can control. What happens to Euro AUD, where it goes up or down from here, nobody in the world knows. Nobody in the world knows where it's going to go. 157.70 or 157.60 over the next 1 minute, half an hour, 2 hours, nobody knows. That is in the lap of the gods. We take a strategy, we hope it works out. If it doesn't, we'll protect with a stop loss. But the other things that we can work out need to be, and 90, 95, maybe I'm exaggerating, I don't know, but overwhelmingly, questions seem to be battling to grasp the basics. You want to be a car mechanic and you still can't seem to grasp what that thing called brake is. How can you possibly worry about being a car mechanic if you can't even change gear? The changing gear part is easy to manage, not complicated. That's what we've got to get control of before we go to the next step. Okay. Yeah, okay, whatever. I just say ignore that little fun little figure there. Doesn't really matter. Take the Euro CHF, it's irrelevant. Take this one here. What is the Euro CHF? Well, just look at here, look at the bid price. It's, where is it now? 0.99253. Ignore it. I mean, whenever you see me put a stop loss, I won't say 99,252, I'll say 99,250. Often though, when you go into the position size calculator, you move the green down there and the TP up there, it'll obviously have the points in. That is 99.27 or 28. Ignore this thing here because it just confuses you. That goes up by 27. You think you made 27 pips. No, you haven't. You made 2.7 pips. Or in other words, there's no such thing as 2.7. So you made 2 pips, which is in fact what I used to. You know what I'm saying? So rather get in the habit of understanding that. Okay. Always remember, I'm going to be upfront again. I'm trying to get this clear, guys. We do our best. I certainly do my best. But what happens to the price of the markets? A large percentage of that is crystal ball gazing. I don't care, Anna Marie, we've been doing this 1 month or 20, 30 years. What's going to happen there? A large part is crystal ball gazing. That's why we have to get an understanding of what's going on. We have to get the correct volumes because sometimes the crystal ball gaze doesn't come out. And it's not your fault. The market has different attitudes. It might be all over the world with different impressions. I think that film you and I are going to see on Anna Maria, you and I are going to see this film on Saturday evening, and I think it's brilliant. You come out, and you're a polite person, but it was so bad to you. I said, don't be rude, Roger. I thought that was a load of old rubbish. I didn't know that. I thought we'd enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Same with the markets. We do our best, but there's so many variables. That's why I need to protect ourselves, stop losses, etc., ride the profits. And nobody can say, well, do I think that's going to go back up to 70 from here or drop below? I think it probably might bounce from there, but that's the best I can come up with. Just a second. Hello, Rocco. I'm sorry, I'm in the trading room at the moment. I'm doing every day till 11 o'clock and for the 5:30. So I've got a whole lot of guys there. Can you contact me after 11? And with pleasure, I'll assist you. Is that all right?
No, no problem. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, man. Okay. Now, I don't blame you on this because we come into something, you know, you ask me and I'm the driver, I'm the taxi driver, do you know how to get to so-and-so? Well, it's obviously expecting how to do that. This is slightly different. I think we're going to get to Durban from here, but it won't be in a straight line. You know what I'm saying? So just bear those things in mind. And I know I've been doing it for a while. Some guys are starting, and a lot of it's going outside their comfort zone, their sort of their mental boxes. A lot of this is outside the box. It can be confusing. I get all that, but that's why I try to get through the concepts so you can actually learn from them. Because if you're not getting the basic concept of something, it's no good learning the parrot fashion stuff. You know what I mean? It's not exact. I mean, a guy might, Anna Marie might go into signal, and I don't know, George might go into the same signal. George makes a loss, Anna Marie makes a profit. It's how the experience interpret a signal, when to modify stop loss, saw a bit of resistance, thinks it's not going to take TP up now. George decided to follow it blindly. TP's up here, doesn't get that far, just holds on, quick get the TP, and then stops him out. Now that he lost on that one, where the other person won on it because they had to interpret and took the trouble on it. Does that make sense? It's not set in stone. And a good example was Tesla. I'm very much, as I said before, my weekly announce I put out each week, rather understandably, was I was really, really reluctant to buy it. I'm very much sticking with the thing of selling the rally. And one of the guys, get his name out, I think it was Clinton, was down here somewhere, said, maybe get a bounce up there, should we buy it? And I said, I'm reluctant, I'd rather sell the rally. As it turned out, he was right. And he went back up to near, did go up to 200, and he would have done very well at that. I'm going to pick on Gerard now. He's pretty good at that. He'll come out, well, that's my opinion. It's nice to have a bit of backup. And he'll take the consideration. He might go for the trade anyway. I might have stayed out. He's done it, and he's done okay out of it. But he's over 18. He's made his own decisions. He's got some advice on it, and then he's made his own decision. He hasn't just blindly jumped in on it. So that's how one progresses. And the Farneys, like Anna Marie's, the Gerards, and a few others are progressing that way. But my worry is too many people going in sort of completely parrot fashion on it, and then wondering why that only went up halfway and not there, or went up and you said it, I'm not going to sell it, but it went up there afterwards, saying, why didn't you do that, whatever. At the time, I only based the information there. Right. I know it's closed at the moment. So what do I think is going to happen from here? I think it probably might hold. If we find a stop loss and a T make it worthwhile, it might come off a bit. But this, and this, it might have blah, 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 etc. But I think it comes off. What happens? It goes back up here. You know what you're talking about or whatever. Well, you know, this time it came down, and then I forgot. It's my mistake. A fundamental came in, or a piece of news came out, I didn't know. And you didn't benefit. It shoots down here. Oh, Roger, you're a genius. No, I got lucky on that one. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, I would still be in business, not doing okay. And I do have the extra experience. But try and get away from the fact that this is going to go from 200 to 210 or 200 to 190. And I know when, where, or what. Nobody does, because if we did, we would not have a market. Every time you buy, guys, somebody else thinks you're wrong. Every time you sell, somebody thinks you're wrong. That's why you can sell or buy it. It's different points of view. If you have one point of view, you do not have a market. So we use experience, and we have a protective stop loss in case the world people out there, for whatever reason, best known themselves, don't agree. Okay, please understand that. It's very, very, very important. The older guys, not older guys in age and experience, probably getting the hang of that, the concept. But there's too many still battling with that concept. I think maybe it's too far out to say their comfort zones to get it. But you've just got to try and get that concept, and it'll be a lot easier, a lot less mentally stressful for us all. Okay. Now, talking about Euro AUD, we've had a couple of bad ones out. Okay, talk about this last week. It was not a good week. Started off well, and then it didn't go well in the end. Some did. Euro AUD is in a bit of a profit. GBP AUD turned out well, and then it turned around, went up the other way, and stopped us out. So we've had a bit of a not a great one. Now, going into this week, be very careful. I'm not saying we won't get trades out if we find any in the trading room, and we all like them. We all like them largely, but a few people like them. I will go to the company WhatsApp and post it there, and then it will be sent out to the VIP group. We've got more than 2.5 on their WhatsApp, and the odd one will be sent out to the guys who are less than 2.5 on the MT5 platform. Just remember that. So the VIP guys get them more, obviously, but the guys less than 2.5, because the sheer limitation of their capital, will only get the ones on the MT5 platform. The extra VIP SIM will be sent on the WhatsApp group. You should be receiving it if you uploaded to a member and you told me about it. And if you haven't, and you got the money and you missed it, some of the details, you saw the banner. I post the banner, just comes, it just says we've got a short out on ABC or whatever. But if you want the details, you haven't received it, just WhatsApp me and I'll copy and post it for you. Just bear that in mind. Okay. Now, coming back to that is exactly what I wanted to say. Actually, I'm just going to hold back for that. Just about leading, I'm bridging into that edge. It's going to be a very challenging week. Just bridging into it. But before I do it, rules of trading room is we need to look at trades if that takes preference. And there I'll just put one up there. So that does take preference. URNZD. Now he's looking for a buy. Do what he does there. If you're looking at it, don't say, please look at URNZD. That's not good enough. For a buy, for a sell, or whatever. Look for a buy, that's 100%. Now, again, looking forward to this. It's not just the US coming out. There's Japan's coming out with stuff, GBP's coming out with stuff, and Euro's coming out with stuff as well, and Canada as well on that subject, and Australia as well. It's a very challenging week. That's about the most polite way I can put it. It's going to be a challenging week. I like that more diplomatic way of referring to the head of a week. Yeah. We'll go through it just now after this trade. Now, bottom line is, on a technical basis, let's just punch it a bit. First thing you want to be looking at, guys, when you look at it and flipped over, you want to be getting the idea. First thing you look at, bang, in your face, no thought, like put your finger on a stone, you pick it up immediately. It's instant. Immediately you think, where is it? It's in the buy, medium, or sell zone. You should say, bang, as soon as you look at it, where is it, the buy zone? Right. So, is it wrong to sell it? No, it might be overvalued. Is it wrong to buy it in the sell zone? No, it might be undervalued. Just bear that in mind. It's about perceived value out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, somebody might say a lock of hair of William Shakespeare might be worth millions. A lock of hair from your mate might be worth nothing. cut it off and chuck it in the bin. Yeah, it's perceived value. Okay, so bottom line is now immediately seen, first thing, bang in your head, buy zone, look for a buyer. Next thing, look at that, get the crosshair going, show you how to do it. You can go up here if you want to the crosshair, or you can just do this middle scrolling thing there, you know, on your mouse, just press the thing there and it comes up immediately. You look at that, this is a daily, make sure in your daily, I've done that before, giving you analysis, been on the 50-minute, which is slightly purposeless. And you can see it's trying to pop up, but a few cells come around this area. It's not exact resistance here, it's around about this area. So it's not really getting going. Okay, so where the situation, as far as I'm concerned here, is let's look at the two currencies, Euro and NZD. Are they both heavyweights, both middleweights, both lightweights, or whatever? This chops and changes. At the moment, Euro and the NZD are both middleweights. So they're fairly even Stevens. Now, clearly, the ideal is a heavyweight against a lightweight. You obviously buy the heavyweight, sell the lightweight. Why then don't you have a guaranteed trade? Well, the heavyweight might have a heart attack and the lightweight might win. Same principle, depends on perception going out there amongst the millions and millions and millions and millions of traders that we have worldwide. So it's a roundabout way. I'm trying to get people to get this concept where you look at it, bang, I think Carol's sort of getting there and find it, etc. And Maria Dirk, etc. Look at it, buy zone at resistance, do you want to buy it at the moment? Yes. So what's the next thing I'm going to be saying? You should be saying, I know where Roger's come from. He's going to say, I'm going to wait to get a better price, maybe the 10-day moving average, or maybe a break upwards. But I might just hesitate for now unless I want to be seriously aggressive. Then I'll check my economic fundamentals to find anything coming out in the euro. Unlikely on the New Zealand dollar because the time difference. Okay, they're probably asleep right now if they've got any sense. So probably more like the euro. We haven't got any coming out of the euro, so that's conquered that one. So do you want to break up or down, unless you want to be aggressive? That I've got a long-winded way to get the concept, but without practice, that would be summed up in less than 2 seconds. You get my point. So that is my take. If I didn't go too quickly, Gerard, I would wait for a better price or a breakout, but I'll be buying the euro. Having said that, be a little bit careful because they're pretty evenly balanced, these two currencies. And I think, just bear that in mind. Okay, now something else before we go on EU or NZD. Before we come to the challenging week, which I want to spend a few moments on it. It's very important. It's good to be on Friday this morning. I'm wondering, okay. Euro AUD is still doing fine. Let's just have a look at it. 157.09 entry. So it's now clearly about 45, 50 pips away, something like that. You want to protect yourself. We keep on about it. Don't take your winner to loser. Guys who don't trade the trading room happen quite a lot. They complain the most, but they don't bother to come to the trading room or read the course or go to classes. We're polite, but I'd be more sympathetic if they made an effort. They don't. So shall we say I'm not sympathetic, I should be, but anyway, polite, try to be better. Bottom line is modify your stop loss. Clearly, you should be habitually thinking 50 pips in profit. I should be modifying to protect, not too close, because I don't be stopped out and I make 50 instead of 100 or 200 pips potential. I want to ride the winner, but I don't want to turn the winner into a loser. Modify accordingly and use some solid common sense to work out the arithmetic. So you can do it. It's doing fine. I won't explain that to you, Mars. Sure, you're not pretty sure Michelle knows it, etc. But just bear that in mind. Please use some arithmetical common sense. Sorry to bring this subject up again. I listen every single morning to the whiz quiz for the youngsters, 10 to 13 years of age, and they get some of the answers that come out. They're very clever kids who want to be lawyers, doctors, sound engineers, or whatever, but they're just not getting the arithmetic right. One of the questions came out, I think it was a 12-year-old, but we've got a few questions right on stuff that a lot of adults wouldn't get. But one of the questions, what's 15 and 16? He couldn't work that out in his head. He could not do that. He could not work out 15 and 16 in his head. That's a worry. It's all very well to know that Mongolia is in Asia and not in Africa. That's nice to know, but it's not as commercially valuable as not being able to work out what 15 and 16 is. That is basic arithmetic. And this is not uncommon. Overwhelmingly, you're getting things like not 37 multiplied by 3.25. No, 15 plus 16 and the kid. A 12-year-old child couldn't work that out. That's the sort of stuff they should be able to work out in their head around about 9 or 10. You get the idea. And adults can't do that. They're going to start fiddling around getting a computer. By the time they worked it all out, the ship has sailed. If you guys asked me questions and I had to do that and look for my phone calculator every time I worked out what you're supposed to do, that ship would have sailed. It's too slow. So you just got to bear in mind that is very important. You should be able to say, if I say what's 17 and 14, it's the same as 16 and 15. You should be able to do that. If I say what's a quarter of 24, you should be able to do that in your head. You get the idea. What's the square root of 9? You should be able to do it in your head. Not the 7th root of the speed of light. No, come on. You know, the basic. Okay, just want to go through those basic stuff because it's going to be fairly quiet trading this week, I think. So I'm going to try and spend some time getting this stuff across because it's time and time creating problems when it should not be creating problems. We should be focused on the unknown, not things that we should be knowing. And sorry, I'm going boring on it, but it's everyone's in here, not just the 3 or 4 clever ones. It's well, knowledgeable ones, if we phrase that, but everyone, because you can't get these concepts. You're not going to be able to trade, bottom line. I think we've got to get this up front and understood. Everyone knows, Etienne as well, you all know, trading's tough enough as it is. If you can't do 5 and 5 is 10, you're making it difficult to impossible. Yeah, it is now, Morris, but we're all out. I think you took a long on that, well done. I was in a short, turned out wrong. I think you took a long, well done. That's what I say, you have your own mind, you can work it out. I'm still nervous of it, but modify your stop and ride it. Whether I would say like Jerry Springer show, if I came up and said, listen, have an investment in that one, you think I'm crazy, look how well it did. So no matter if you think it's rubbish or not, if it's going in your favor, modify, stop and run it. Don't ask questions, just run the damn thing. Yeah, so well done. EUR CAD for a buy. Okay, now actually, that didn't look too bad actually. The CAD at the moment, my only problem, guys, is the CAD used to be fairly independent. You watch the oil price, you get an idea, and it's pretty good. The trouble lately is they've been following the dollar, in my opinion, a bit more than they should be. They all talk about independence, blah, blah, blah. Well, independent, they've still followed the American dollar quite a bit. But that being as it's said, it's clearly, as you can see, immediately in the buy range. Euro is quite strong. It used to be one of the weaker ones. It's sort of like a higher end of the middleweight, if you use my analogy. So I do see upside. What now? That's the positive. Pros and the cons. The cons is, let's have a look at the range. Is it large? 80 pips or even 60 pips. It's not much of a range. It's battling to get going. It opened up here above the 50, so technically that is an extremely good area. So quite right, Marshall. Again, the fact you pointed out means that you know a little bit more. You're not a complete beginner, which is good. That's fine. Now it's in that area there. Where is the worry? Let's just zoom in a little bit. Is these guys, see the wick? What's that mean? Sellers are coming in. Sellers are coming in. We want to get going. You don't want to get on the road, going down to Durban from Joburg and keep stopping every 5 minutes and then forget something. You have to drive back, pick it up and going and stop me for another week. A toilet stop and then you want to stop there or you want to start tracking there. You want to get moving. And the problem with this is one of those where it's popping around a bit, not really getting moving. So yes, I see the vision. They do 50 pips. That's not bad. Let's try another one. Maybe can we do it down here? If you take, I prefer slightly less with too wide. If you take a stop just below the 10-day, about 60 pip stop, we can look maybe 100 pip TP. We can't really get there. So if you want to do it with a TP up there, do it if you go up there, fine. If you want to take a TP up there, which is about 90, you would have to squeeze. Ooh, you're really going to squeeze it about there. You could probably just about squeeze it on that basis, unless you want a wider TP. But actually, it doesn't look too bad, and I can see the reason why I'm saying it. Let's go to the weekly. Tell me much, a bit of indecision, not too bad. Remember that weekly is a daily because it starts on Monday. The 4 hour popped up, but it seemed to be coming off a little bit, getting more action on the 1 hour. Tried on the 1 hour, so only going for nearly a full hour's time, and a few sellers came in. Might get more information on the 15-minute, what's happening there. So I'll go to the 15-minute, it's coming back a bit. So bottom line is on this one, I like it. It's not really getting going. I'm worried by the lack of follow through. So I agree with the buy, but maybe just hold 5. We might get a slightly better price. That's about the best I can come in with. Otherwise, for what I've looked at this morning, not just you guys, myself as well, with the others before the trading room, it's one of the better ones I've seen. But I just want to maybe just wait till we get a bit more confirmation of follow through. Otherwise, I have to say, well spotted. That's my take. What do you think? Yeah, yeah, really. Okay. I think it's going to be a lot of waiting this week. You know the problem you had with fundamental stuffing the system up, and maybe lucky, unlucky the last 4 times, you might get lucky the next 4, but who knows? You know what I mean? And then you can forget the technicals, forget it. If the fundamentals come out different to expectations and you're going the wrong way, forget it. It'll go. Okay, right. So I just want to go back to something, US dollar and the NAS. We'll do the dollar yen first. In theory, you're looking at for a short. Okay. Let's look at the DXY. It's come off, took out 105, and remember the yields came off, hence the bounce in gold. The yields came right off. I was surprised that happened, but they came right off. It's got way below 40. It was holding last week. Now it's down to 3.930. All basically positive for gold. Right. So dollar yen clears come off. We've been holding back, waiting for that to happen. I was confident dollar last week. I'm not confident either way on the dollar. Weakness or strength at the moment. There's too much in that. We've got Fed Powell coming out Tuesday, Wednesday, the non-farms on Friday, the jobless claims on Thursday, the ADP on Wednesday. You get the idea. It's hectic. So normally I would say, oh, it's come back, let's have a buy, take it back up again. Or short it, it's come off a bit, let's follow that down. Can you see what's happening already? It's 10 hours old. Sellers are coming in, buyers are coming in. I'm afraid it's going to be like that a lot of the time with stock record. Don't give up with me, guys. I want to get trades out, we all do. But I don't want to send it out and lose my credibility for pushing them. I want to feel a little bit comfortable. If it goes wrong, I put my hand up, I was comfortable with that was the right trade at the time. Not, we haven't got any, we're going to push it into and hope for the best. Okay. Okay, the NAS, we'll do CAD in a minute, the Loonie in a minute. The NAS, I've been sticking with this for a while. Short the rally. I'm nervous of going long, but those who went long would have done very well. Thank you very much. I'm still short the rally, but I'm neither the rally at the moment. The shares, the indices, gold, of course, the American dollar. Well, the others, everything will be affected, but those will be likely affected by fundamental information coming out. The world is waiting for half or 1/4%. About 70% reckon it's going to be 1/4% increase, but that could change rapidly to a Q&A with Powell and to figures coming out from the ADP on Wednesday, the jobless on Thursday, the big board, and the big one on Friday, the jobs report, not farms. That will change it completely. So we're working abeyance on what is happening there. And it's completely, utterly, and totally unpredictable. So my question to you is, do you feel lucky? Remember that Dirty Harry film? Well, when Dirty Harry points the gun at that bad guy and says, I can't remember, I got shot $6 or $5, whatever in his Magnum. You know, do you feel lucky? Panic or do you? Well, if you feel lucky, go for it. If you don't, rather stay clear. Okay, so from NASDAQ, I haven't been so now stay clear of it, and I've been waiting for fundamental direction before I get cute. The dollar, the gold, we'll get actually like the same thing. You get WhatsApps going out, by the way, I think today and tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a Zoom session on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Fani, Anna-Marie, Gerard, Marshall, et al. What's your name? Sorry, name's gone blank. Don't bother. It is wasting your time there. It will be just talking about the XAU USD facing gold, and the micro, how you go about getting it. Release those two, and we're trying to get people to make use of it. You don't have to bother. You already know that's wasting your time. It's just for trying to get people out there to join the Zoom, to explain to them they can trade the NAVs and the Dow now because you've got a micro. It's as simple as that. Okay. Right. Do not trade the DAVs or the micro, as I've said a million times before. If you've got an account below 4 or 5 grand, you will be overexposed unless you put the stock too tight, and then you're going to be knocked out in the noise anyway, so you're wasting your time. Do it on the micro. If you've got 20 grand, 15 grand, 30 grand, or whatever, then you do the normal micro. Or you can do a normal NAS, but if you can still do a micro, and can use some common sense. I'm going to take a long-term position on it for maybe a couple of weeks. I'll use the micro for that. So forget about it. It's not going to hurt. It might but as a concert and other stuff. There's ways and means if you can think a little bit. Okay. Gold, I see that it's at the moment we've had a blowing of the yields and the dollar, hence the jump in gold. We've had a bit of rally. We've done all right with some shorts, now it's bounced up again. I personally think we'd like to get maybe a bit of sideways to downside action here. But again, gold will be fundamentally abused, I like that, by, or not necessarily abused, it might come off like winning the lottery if something comes out that affects it. If it comes out with a more hawkish stance, a 0.5 instead of 0.25 comes out expectations, or whether he says it or not, it's perceived that way, gold will come flying off, the dollar will go up. If it says 0.25 and maybe even think it's getting on top of inflation, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's say it does, and we might even look for interest rate reduction in the end, even hinted at by Powell, then that dollar will weaken and gold will go shooting up. You take your picks and take your chances. Okay. Yeah, that's my take on gold. You had to go in, probably with a downside on it, maybe a bit of sideways, but it's not much today. Canadian's coming out with something. I'll get something else now. What is it got anyway? But looking at this now, but tomorrow the fund's going to be beginning. So if you want to take a quick on, expect a bit of a move down, maybe a $10 stop, hope you get about a $15, $16 move to the south. Rather short than long at this stage, otherwise stay out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay out. You've got to get to the stage where you can understand that concept. Okay. If you want to take a sort of an aggressive one, 5, I think it's a bit too tight to stop. You have to look at having about 10. Where's $10 stop from there? 65. Yeah, right about there. And maybe aim down to maybe at least a 15, 16 or more TP. Get some profit, modify your stop. If a big funding comes out tomorrow, you're still in and you need nice profit, you might as well modify your stop to protect you. And if the funding works out, you make a big profit. If you don't, well, you won't lose on it. That's the sort of way you got to be thinking. Okay, your choice. You roll to die, you take your chance of going back. Hope that's okay with you. Letter better. Hope all good. Remember, it's a trading room, not a training room. If you don't know any of what I'm talking about, you need to go to classes. You'll be astounded how few people go to classes yet start trading. It's about, I don't know, it's less than 5% people do even look at what the educational package they invest in before they start trading. It'll bite. You wouldn't go to a lawyer who hasn't picked up a book to look at it, same principle. The classes are there to assist on the basics. This is to actually, increase on it. Okay, right, hope that's okay with you. CAD CHF. Okay. You might be right. I'm still think they're a bit sort of reasonably strong. I still think the Swiss is a little bit stronger, but it's been sort of very much range trading recently. So from a point of view, you're looking for a long probably, yeah. Tennessee, I agree with you at the moment. Very much range trading. So at the bottom of the range for a long to go back up. The Swiss seem to be picking up the problems of the rest of the world and not as strong as it used to be. So I'm getting less nervous about selling it. So at the moment, it looks like it's in the sell zone, to be fair. So technically speaking, it could be maybe a shorter rally up here, might be the preferential move. But you could also alternately say maybe on a 4-hour, you could be looking at range trade or a little bit oversold. I personally think it's more likely where unless something happens to the dollar to stuff the system up, I think maybe if you can have a bit of a bounce, short the rally, might be a preferential way. The alternative, let's see what you're looking at. So range trade, look at the bounce on it. There's too many ifs and buts for me. I'm going to probably stay clear of that. I'm going to stay clear of it because there's too many ifs and buts on it at the moment. But I see a case for what you're saying, Marius, about a jump on the range trade. But I also see a case for selling it because it's broken through into the sell zone, as you can see here clearly this morning. And if you can get a little bit of a profit-taking bounce around that resistance area, and then the stop up here, getting around about those levels, and it starts to go back on the momentum down, make it take a TP down there. I think the likely possibility of that. That's why I say. And by the way, when I say a profit-taking bounce, I'm assuming you all know what I'm talking about. Are you happy with that, Marius? Anybody else got an input on that? I'd love to hear it. But before we get to that, anybody not know what I'm talking about when I say you could get a profit-taking bounce to get a better entry level? Does anybody think, what the heck? Don't nod your head if you haven't got a solid clue, because then you're not going to learn. If you don't, I'll go. Won't take long, won't hold you up fine and company, but it'll need a quick explanation. Because lack of knowledge is without doubt the prime cause of some of the problems we're having. Thanks, Fania. So that's slightly inflationary. That's interesting. So it should get theory. Might get a little bit of a buy on that Swiss franc. Having said that, that's not as a nerve written as the Americans, because they don't have the debt problems. Their economy and country of themselves really. So they don't really have the debt problems that America and Europe have, and they don't have enormous costly welfare programs either. They have them, but not quite the same extent as Scandinavia and Europe and the United States have. Okay, before we come to that, Jacob, when I talk about expect to get a better entry from a short covering bounce, before I answer that next one, anybody not know? If you do know, don't worry. Anybody not know what that means? Give you a few moments to sum up enough nerve to type out yes or no. It doesn't take long. It must be nerves, because even I'm not quick typers. I can put out no or yes pretty quickly. No. Thank you. When you go long, you buy. When you exit, you sell. Clearly. Now, we all know that's obvious. So you're going in now to buy this. Your stop loss is here. That's a sell order. Your TP is here. That's a sell order. It's not more, no less a sell order. Right. Now, if you go short, your stop loss is above and your TP is below because you want the market to come off. You're selling short. You want it to come down. Your sell order when you sell short is a buy order. Your TP is a buy order. So 3 orders we go along, entry a buy, and SL and TP are sell orders. When you go short, 3 orders. Your entry is a sell, your SL and TP are buy orders. Now, you sell short up here, and that large amount of people, thousands and thousands of people of different volume size, different position size, etc., have, let's say, got a TP here on the sell order. Plus, a lot of guys see that resistance and they decided to close their position. By closing their position, those TPs trigger, they're all buy orders. It's not necessarily you guys selling short, it's buy orders, guys exiting. So we call that a short covering. When you're getting out of your short, we call that short covering. You're short covering and you're getting a bounce because you're buying to exit. Does that make sense? I mean, you know, you like the house in your area, you're selling the house to get out. And if a lot of people sell a house, you're going to reduce the price. So if you're going up and the sell order hits that area and all the TPs are there, you get a retracement. Okay, here you're getting a short covering rally. That's what it means. When it comes to buy and sell areas, I use these two major moving averages of 200 and the 50. If it's below these two, I look at a sell area. In between the two, I look at a neutral area, and above, I look at a strong area. I can sell in the strong and I can buy it if I think it's overvalued or undervalued. Otherwise, I'll be looking to short the rally in the sell area, in the neutral area, buy or sell depending on the support resistance. And up here, if it's here and it's coming off, I'm always buying it here. See if we can come here, bounce off, and it's bounced off there. I'm looking for a buy order. Marshall looked one just now. We saw, I can't remember if it was a buy or sell now. I remember now, we've gone on a couple of minutes, but he was looking something like a sell, I think it was, because it went up to the moving average there, and he thought, like I'm looking here, it's come back and rallied there and coming off, stop up here, TP down there. If it comes back and bounce off that, we use this in the buy zone, that's fine. Come back, bounce, stop loss here, move back up again. That's how you filter it out. It's the area of support resistance and for filtering. It's not whether they cross or uncross the lagging indicator from that point of view. It's around about where we want to go in for a bounce off the floor or a sell off the ceiling, basically. Okay. If you wait for an indicator like a MACD to tell you sell off the ceiling, by the time the lag indicator reacts, you're about a third down from the ceiling to the floor. And now you've got a wider stop and you might not get a good risk reward ratio. You'd rather see when it bounced off the ceiling, get close to the ceiling, confirmed, and then you got all the way down to the floor to potentially profit, and just above the ceiling into the floor above at smaller stop loss, so it gives you a better risk reward potential. Those things you've got to get the hang of and understand. Hope that answers it. Now, I get the next question is, it should in theory, but to say their economy is slightly different to everywhere else. In theory, it should have been. They're not as terrified. Everyone is. Inflation quite like the Eurozone in America is. I can't answer your question, Jacob. And I hope you understand, Andrew, about short covering bounce. So remember, you can get slippage. If bomb goes off right there and your stop loss is here, it could go through that. Why did it go through and the stop loss is there? Because there's no buyers or sellers there. Remember, you're saying, I'm putting my TV set up into the market there to sell 1,000 rand. But if no one's going to buy your TV set, you're selling it, they're buying it clearly. It'll obviously maybe come off in price. You might, even though you sell your stop loss is at 1,000 rand, and it might come off, and someone will pick up and buy it off you at 950. That would cause slippage. Doesn't happen very often, but it does sometimes happen. Fundamentals come out because it goes through because there's no buyers and sellers. Remember, your stop loss is pure. It's all about buyers and sellers, like all business. You've got a great product there, Andrews. Brilliant product, and it's fantastic. But if no one's buying it, well, no one's buying it. Sorry, Etienne, you got a crap product there. But Etienne's smiling because people are buying his product. You see what I mean? It's no good saying got a good product, bad product, blah, 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 blah. It's irrelevant. And market price is what it'll take. I'm selling my product, it costs me 10 rand to make, so 100 rand. Isn't that overpriced? No, it's not. It's what the market will take. Anyone who's traveled by a sandwich in an airport, didn't care where in a poor country, rich country, they're all a rip-off because that's what the market will take. A cup of coffee is probably around the same in Zurich it is in a poor country at the airport, because that's what the market will take. You know what I'm saying? That's the buyer prepared to pay for it. Just bear in mind, this is no different. Get that concept and we're well on our way. Okay, hope we're all good on that. Okay. CHF JP, well, we've already got one there, Marshall. If you want to join it now, probably can. We've already got it. Let's take a bit of a jump. What the hell happened there? Brilliant. We got it out at 144.95. Suddenly taking a bit of a jump. Look at that. Oh, the Swissy. Sorry, thanks, Barney. I won't be chasing it now. No, we've already got one out anyway. It's not just the trading for everyone. And get some jip on that. It was doing nice, and then it came off. Got down to about 144.80. 15 pips to the negative. Now it's doing nicely. Okay, so that's pretty good. I won't be chasing it now, but the guys on board should be thinking modifying the style. I know we got hundreds of people on board here, but I don't think most take the trouble to find out should they or shouldn't they. I don't know. And some out of sheer fear, which is their only strategy, is emotional fear or greed or whatever. Probably would have taken it anyway. I don't know. But if they're not coming and joining or asking, I can't really assist. But if they do, I will obviously try. But I won't be chasing there. It's popped up a bit of some technical resistance there, and a few sellers coming in. What are those sellers there? Going back to the saying, probably a lot of that's profit taking. Profit taking pullback. Short covering, bounce, profit taking pullback. The guys, you bought there, what a pleasure. You start to take profit, not you with your micro, but 100,000 you adding up to a sizable amount will end up a bit of a pullback. Okay. And then there'll be a few short sellers adding to the mix, if you get my point. Okay. But I won't be joining it now. Maybe I'm just a cowdy, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's part. That's for your point of view. Whoever else's point of view, it's now doing quite nicely. That's good news. At last, bloody, hey, that's a good omen, hey. Fundamentals come out in our solid favor. Last couple of weeks, it hasn't. This one's come out in our favor. That is not skill. We've had that out, and I think that was a bit of knowledge. Yeah, this jump here is a fundamental jump. Now to do with me. Lucky me in this case, or lucky those who got the trade. I'm with Etienne on that one. Marshall, what do you think? Anyone? I tell you, I've given what I think. What do you guys think? Etienne's given these things. Do you think we should support Marshall and buying it now? Or do we think ship has sailed? That's what I personally think, yeah. But other guys might think differently. Remember, Clinton said, I like to buy Tesla, and I'd rather sell a rally. If he bought it, he'd be smiling. Okay, fair enough. I'm getting you to think and come up, and why you're saying that, because you're learning stuff. You're making it because you've got some knowledge now, practical knowledge. It's not because, well, it's gone up high, I think I'm going to sell it. Or I see a bit of green, it must turn red. That's an emotional flick of a coin. As my mother used to say, oh, I'm going to bet on that horse because it's got the same name as a boyfriend I used to go to when I was younger. You know what I mean? Okay, could I tend to hear you, but I'm a bit nervous that pound still. And we've got a few coming out on that. Euro JPY, GBP AUD. You still want to chase it? We'll do Euro JPY first. Let's have a bit of a jump on the hourly. Might get a bit of a pullback out. Shall be buying on the 1 hour? I think I'll leave that alone. I want to go on the Euro AUD. One we got in, he's still need progress on that one. Going a long way here automatically. Hey. Come on, guys. Bit of luck involved, I get that, but now it's up about 70 pips. Modify your stop accordingly. At least closest 20 pips, but 30, 40 if you feel you want to hang on to get to around figure 158 or better. Don't get it close in 20, maybe 30 pips. Give it some room to move. You don't want to get stopped out at 63 or 64 and then it shoots up and further. But 20 pips is the closest, but 30, 40. If you do 50 pips, you're still in a profit. What a pleasure. So it's doing well. I don't leave my idea. I think it's some of you guys' idea, but I can't remember what matter it is. The point is it's doing well. Nice start on that one. GBP AUD, modified, guys. Took the trouble to come to the trade and get the benefit of making sure you don't lose in that trade, whatever happens. GBP AUD, you want to chase it further up. Technically speaking, yes. So why not? This is purely a certain gentleman called the host who's scared of buying the pound. That's not good enough. And I'm being totally honest with you, that's not good enough. I say, right, you're quite right. Look at it logically, not emotionally, and I make a mistake with a lot of people. I am emotionally involved that I am a negative on the pound. I'm being quite upfront. So I'm going to have someone who's more clear-headed, maybe Anna Marie, to help you on that. More feet in the ground, more objective. I'm being upfront with you. We all have our prejudice. Mine is a negative on the pound. Sorry about that, Kurt. At least I'm being honest with you. I am reluctant to sell. To buy the pound, even though technically that isn't a buy zone. But even if you did, and I got over my prejudice, where you put the stop down here, it's about 90 pips. You got to take at least about 150 up there. You got to aim up there, which you could possibly do. I still think it's asking a lot. The AUD's got stuff coming out this week. Pound's got stuff coming out this week from Economic Fundamentals. Is the AUD going to continue to be so weak? The pound has got a lot of problems. The main problem is they've got a lot of costs. We talk about, each month goes out your debit orders and your costs. The pound is the same. The UK has got massively expensive social programs. Okay, everything from the police, from medical, free medical, the dole, housing. You don't want to get all the emotional stuff for immigrants, but I'm not talking about you like them, don't like them. All of it costs money, and all those social welfare things that people like. It's all nice and humane, looking after all the poor people whose government corrupted them, so they'll come over to the West because they perceive a free buck, or they perceive, or they've been sold it by someone scrupulous trafficker or whatever. But because it's nice and humane, the country is not. They got a lot of guys standing up. Well, we must be humane, but that's fine. Be humane with pleasure, but it's costing. Where's the money come from? Borrowing and taxpayer, and they've got a massive outgoes. Far higher, let's say Switzerland or Saudi Arabia or Dubai. You get the general idea. So as a result of it, it's sustained quite a few problems. And of course, the ones living there have left on welfare, nanny state for a while. So a lot of them are getting softer. They want more money without, like the train drivers there, striking for phenomenal amounts of money. 60,000 a year or something ridiculous. That's £1 million a year. And then that's not even your train driving. It's, quite frankly, half-wit can do that job. It's not, because it's just don't have to change from one railing to another. It's just stopping and starting, and little levers slow down and speed up. And that's it. Like driving an automatic motor car. You get the idea. So all that's, and then the unions are powerful. So it's outgoings, and a lot of guys are taking money elsewhere. And the rich, forget about the rich. Don't think you tax them. They get the money of the Cayman, Switzerland, and other, what do you call it, the Virgin Islands and other places like that. They'll outrun you. Don't worry about them. That's a nice political thing. We'll tax the rich. You will never tax them. They're too bloody clever. Then they've got the power to move it around. It's the middle class getting squeezed, and the poor don't have enough. So the poor vote, and not the middle class vote, and they're squeezed enough. So the pound overall, I see we've got a problem there. So I'm reluctant to see what's going to drive that out to make a buy on that. Worth it on a fundamental basis, but technically, I take your point. But you've got to look for a TP right up these sort of levels here to make it worthwhile. If you perceive that, I'm happy for you, but I'm going to stay on the side of it for those reasons. Yeah. Yes, it is your AUD. That's my take. Because let's say it's all very well. A lot of people, most people on the planet are economically not very knowledgeable. Okay, but they're very sort of holding their hearts, etc., and love and the rest of it, which is fine. But the problem is, if you don't want to pay, who must pay? There's always somebody else has to pay. I like dogs. You like, I don't know, cats. That's great. People should give more. The government should give more. Well, do you want to give more? Oh, well, hang on. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. So it's got to come, unfortunately, from somewhere. And the hated capitalists will start to think, oh, I'm paying the most tax. I'll give an example. You might go on a little bit, sorry. In this country, 60 million plus minus people in the country. 163, call it 100, just over 160,000. Taxpayers in this country pay 30% of the tax. It's all talk about socialism. That's pretty damn socialist already. So the problem when they get guys leaving is the people who can leave are those guys. And that is one of those guys leaving is a damage. Never mind, they call them a racist, sexist, capitalistic, imperialist swine. Unfortunately, the capitalist, imperialist, racist, gender respected, God knows what swine is take the Tom with him. It's the Tom you want. You should leave the Tom behind. Joke in the park. Okay, but that's the problem. So out of 60 million, what's that? 60 million, 600,000, 60 million, 600,000, 160 before that. 1/4% are paying 30%, if you understand the maths. You get it? And then you go up to other figures. It's something like, is it in this country, 7 million, not 30–40% unemployed, not even talk about them. 7 million of the working force aren't paying any tax, simply because the wage is so small they're not even getting to the minimum tax bracket. So there is socialism already going on here, and it's held by the skilled people who are now looking overseas. So when they start to leave, they can get jobs, they can get it because they got something to offer. The guys that don't, of course they don't want them. You say we don't want immigrants, of course we want immigrants. We want an immigrant who's got something to offer. Most of them coming across have not. That's where the problem comes in. They take, they don't give, if you see what I mean. And that's another major problem. And there's been lately a large movement of people who are taking the money out of the local market and going on to the international, like we've done. We're not using the local anymore, we're using the international one. And this is contributing to the issue. So we're losing people who can contribute, going elsewhere, and we're having more and more people coming on the market with the 30% passing the trick. Basically, you haven't got the skills or understanding or whatever to offer value. And that is also adding to the mix of the issues that are coming about. So yeah, and it's no good saying, why is that guy earn 10 and I don't? Well, I mean, you know, that guy will say, if you don't like it, I'll take it elsewhere, because that's what the market will take. I'm sorry, it's the way it is. You know what I'm saying? A teacher should earn more, yeah, but who's going to pay for it? That's the bottom line. And so, you know, just bear that in mind. And that's called economic thinking, not emotional thinking. And I've seen what a few programs in the UK that are bad on that. Oh, jumping up down what should and that's not fair and whatever. But it's never discussed where it should come from. You know what I mean? One month said it, jobs before profit. Well, if you don't have a profit, then you won't have a job unless you work for the government. They'll go and get a job with the government, then it doesn't matter. But if you're free enterprise or private sector, there's no profit, you're not going to get paid. It's impossible. Again, that's lack of economic thinking. Okay. Now, sorry, but people have got to get these concepts, and I will try and help you to get them, because you won't be economic free until you get those basics. And this is not an economic degree. Okay. Basic stuff. And again, once you get the concept, it becomes not easy, but a lot easier. Before that, it's next to impossible. Yeah, as long as you've got the stop loss and the correct place. Yeah, absolutely. If you if you have it too close, it's in the zone, you're getting stopped out in the noise. And if you're going in too big, you're going to get margin call before it gets anywhere near, and you're going the right way, simply because of the noise. And you've got to know the NASDAQ is more volatile than the euro dollar. And, you know, the Walmart is less volatile, let's say Tesla. This takes some experience, or come to trade room and asking and interacting. I would say too many people is going on, quick, get rich quick, I've got nothing to offer, I want a lot in return, and I've got some emotional jump in. If you want to do that, go and take your money and sit in the gambling casino. You're just gambling there. Okay, no problem. I do go on about it, but it is a continual issue worldwide, not just in this business. And get the understanding of basic economics, and you'd be surprised to change. I'm just as daft myself, to be honest, until it sort of started doing a bit of thinking on it, made a major difference. It's not that difficult. Rewards compared to a little bit to overcome that is amazing. Changed my life anyway. Okay, I just want to go through the fundamental economics coming up this week on the fundamental front. Let's do mine first. Hope to see you later on this afternoon, Dirk, but thanks as always. When I start to put a team in, when I scale, I put a TP, but when I would go long or short, I tend to leave it. The TP opens a misnomer. Right, Marius, if you're scalping, guys, when I say Marius and you guys, when you're scalping, you need to be doing this full time. You're not a scalping trader if you're putting it in, going off to work and looking at a couple hours time, or you're going out for a nice pub lunch and you come back in 3 hours time, or you've got other stuff to do, or you're going into a long meeting where you've got to switch all the phones off, or you're going out to cinema during the day or something. In other words, if you're scalping, you need to be, you go to the loo and make a cup of tea, or knock off a chow or something if you want a quick bite to eat, sure. But you've got to be access in front like I am most of the day. So if that is the case, then I'm going to, then your next thing is to be disciplined. Now, we had discussed before, Marius, and believe you're quite a disciplined person. I think you work in the gym or something. And if you're going to get a person who goes regular to the gym and build up a nice bod, for a better word, never mind they've got a good looking bod or not. The fact is to get there, by definition, you've got to be disciplined. So if you can honestly, I say to yourself, I'm disciplined, it doesn't matter about the TP. You know what I mean? A lot of pro traders don't even bother with them. They put a horizontal line in as their guide and have a look at it when that occurs. Does that make sense? But I can never advise that because most people then go and put that in when it gets there, or more importantly, when the stop loss gets there, more than the TP. They don't want to take it, so they hang on a bit more, hang on a bit more, come off a bit, maybe wait for a bit bounce. They start lying to themselves, going into denial, making excuses, and then in the end, they wish they stopped out at 178.50, and now it's now 178, and now they're in emotional turmoil. So yeah, it's the only thing good about stop loss and TP if you're in front of it in case a big fundy comes out, and then it can smack through the TP. Sorry, not worry about the TP, you're gaining from it. You can smack through the stop loss, you might even get a bit of slippage. So rather keep a stop loss, but even so, in case of that, but TP, don't worry about it. And if you have to be in front of it and it shoots up like this guy here, it starts coming off, you can say, oh, it's shooting up, it might come off. Right click and have your close there. It's coming off, click on the close and you're out. So to answer your question, if you have the discipline, if you're in front and scalping, you should be, TP is not that necessary as long as you're on it. You understand what I'm saying? Do not go back to the company and say, Roger says we're in front of the computer, so you don't bother TP. That's not what I'm saying. If you understand what I'm saying, I hope that answers your question. Because that comes back and bites me again. And the guys I'm trying to help are the ones that do me the most damage. And sort of trying to help you, mate. And then misinterpret either ignorance or purposeful ignorance, but not trying to understand it. Because they're looking again for a quick, easy, if someone else takes the responsibility, etc. Okay. You are responsible. It's your life, your money. We're here to help. Okay. Tight stops. What a tight stop is, let's have a look. We're going to do a buy on this one right now, and we're going to put the stop loss down here below the 50-day. That's 100 pips away. Okay. That now, let's have another one. Let's look at the 4-hour. We're going to do a tighter stop, means we're doing a more aggressive, shorter term trade in the 4-hour. We'll put the stop loss down there. That's 80 pips away. Let's go to the 1 hour. We're going to put a stop loss on here. We're going to go long, the stop just down here. That's 48 pips away. Simple as that. Okay. Does that concept mean anything, Ken? I can develop it more, but if you got it in one, yeah, I don't need to spend hours and hours on padding it out. Yeah, that's great, Miles, but don't forget, I know you're in the short term, but I mean, bloke, we know you are, you're fairly bright, respect the effort, you've got quite a bit of common sense, you've got a lot of discipline. A lot of it, what you say, I agree, but I can't put out the others because they'll get wrong in the stick, if you know what I mean. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, you're doing a bit of thinking, etc. Remember, some guys can't do 16 and 15 there, like I mentioned earlier on. So we've got to be careful of that as well. They'll get wrong in the stick. And then we get flooded with complaints, and and we all have to take a deep breath. So they're completely, utterly missing the point. NZD USD, okay, do an example on that. Right, we'll go back to daily. Right, what's that the dollar? What's that for? Dollar has strengthened. It came on in the economic calendar. NZD coming out of that. Wouldn't be now because they're all asleep. NZD, not today. Don't know why that suddenly happened. Don't know. I haven't seen you jump on the dollar. It's not quite sure why that happened. But let's say we do the daily. First of all, if I was going to aim on this one, I'd be aiming down here. It's about 20 pips away. That to me, that's shit sell. It's not a good idea to set it. Put the stop up there. We're on the daily. So if that line there was down here, and let's say, right, the stop up here was, let's say, above there, make it down there. We're talking about 65 pips with a TP down there. That's fine. You can do it. My problem, I wouldn't do it. Is a very good example here. So, would you be looking at buying the NZD if it bounced off the 200? Could well do that. What is the issue? Again, economic fundamentals. Not today, but from tomorrow onwards, we've got. Let me just go through that. Can I just do that? Let's just do it quickly. Pound again's coming up today at 11:30. The Canadian PMI is coming up at 5. Going into next week, get this thing out of the way, so see what I'm doing. Tomorrow morning, AUD, retail sales and interest rate decision on the Aussie dollar. You should all have it, but I'll copy and paste a minute. So I'll just read it out. You can refer to it. And then 5 o'clock, Powell is testifying. We all know Powell is. He's testifying at 5 tomorrow. Right. Now, the next day, Wednesday, 12 o'clock, Lagarde is speaking in Europe. ADP, non-farm employment, that's a lead up to the big one on Friday, 3:15. Then 5 o'clock again on Wednesday, Powell is speaking. Openings at 5 o'clock. Then we got interest rate announcement at 5 o'clock on Wednesday of the BOC, which is the Bank of Canada. Then we go to Thursday, Japan GDP coming out, obviously early in the morning. Then we go jobless claims again on America, 3:30. Then we go into the big one on Friday, we're all pretty big. It's the pound GDP on Friday, the German CPI, and the non-farm payrolls also coming out, and a policy statement, the BOJ coming out as well. And even Lagarde is speaking again on Friday at 5:30. So that is as hectic as it gets. You see what I'm getting from? I'm just going to put that through to you. I'm sure you all got it, but please, there we are. And I'll do the DXY one on the subject. I'm presuming you got the yields. If you don't know, you should know. If you still don't know, ask or Google it. Google it. Google's there on your phone, your fingertips. Use it. If we're not on or we can't ask somebody, go and Google it. Or refer to whatever. Find out. Knowledge is power, the old cliche says. It's true. All right. If you want to go along, make it a little bit clearer here. You want to go along on this. On the daily, you put your stop down here. It's too close. It's not a good one. It's not a good example. I'm going to use the NAS. Now, the NAS is bad because you need at least twice with a big mover. Try and find something that might work on this. I don't know what NZDCA did. I'll try that one. A little bit better. Maybe try that. Buy or sell. Right. We've got the daily here. We want to buy it. Right. Let's come down support near the 100-day moving average. We want to put a stop down here. That's 85 pips away. And the TP up here, wherever it is, 180. We get a risk reward. We go to a 4-hour. Let's have a look. We want to put the stop down here somewhere. That's only 40 pips away, TP, whatever. We're going to use the hourly one, crunch it a bit more. We can maybe put the stop just down here somewhere, which only maybe 30 pips away, then maybe a 50 pip. So you just go to a shorter time zone here and narrow. But I'm not personally, this is my opinion. Morris is probably more, because he's doing a lot of scalping more than me. Might be worth listening to. But it's just me personally, I'm not keen on getting into a trade with a stop less than 25, 30 pips. Me personally. If he's scalping, he might do 20, but I doubt even he's going to do a 15. 15 pip stop often means you're knocked out in the noise. You know what the noise is? The noise, the ups and downs. And you go along, it's quite correct. It goes nicely up, but you're not on board because it's moving up and down all the time. The noise knocks you out. My rule of thumb is when I enter, I like to have at least 30 pips as a stop loss. Even if I can technically put it at 20, 25, I still rather 30 or even more. Short, even I'm doing a shorter term one, I will then say, guys, we won't be sending it out. We want to do an aggressive one, but even then, I'll probably do 30 to 40 or 35. 30 is really, really, for me, close. But if you're scalping, you might want to go to 20. But I doubt Mario's going to put his hand up and say, I've got 10 or 15 pip stops. I mean, some of these have about five pips of the spread. On the NAS, the indices is 10, 12 pips. So you hardly cover your spread. Okay, hope we're all good on that. Okay, I'll leave NZD/USD anyway because the dollar's a bit iffy, as we know. Let's go to the what we've got there. Oh, we got this one. Yeah, it's hovering. I personally think it's going to hold around about the 1860 mark, waiting for fundamentals to give it guidance, to take it up through here or down through there. I think there'll be some sentiment to pulling back a bit. I think there's going to be some profit taking pullbacks as well. And I think there's going to be some emotional sentiment, seeing them might actually come off a bit. We get a lot of people, especially the amateur inexperienced, saying, that's a bit high, so I think I'm going to sell it. That's a bit low, I'm going to buy it. That's the sum total of that strategy, but never mind. If they've got enough money and there's enough of them, it will affect the price. Whether you've got the knowledge or not, it's irrelevant. Marius got more knowledge than me, but the difference is I'm richer than Marius. When I go into a position, I can affect the price more than Marius, simply because he might know more, but I have a bigger money to push it, to get my point. Okay, similar to what I'm trying to get the concept by using those sort of analogies. So the bottom line, I think the problem might be a little bit of a pullback. I think it's going to be a fairly tight range, a bit of profit taking, a bit of an emotional push. But most people who know their stuff, know their onions, will be waiting. I'm being a little bit nervous. Might go to a small one, but big or whatever, waiting for the next thing that can affect the yields and the dollar itself, etc. Does that make sense? And that will affect gold. So I'd be nervous with it. I put my week analysis for the week, send out. I don't know where they post it. I send it to the company. They put some pretty stuff with it and send it out. Get a bit of chit chat behind it, dress it up a bit. And I do the NAS, the oil, and the gold. And all three of them, I say, be wary of going into a new trade. The fundamental strewn week coming up. Not saying we won't find them, but I'm just saying be aware. Doesn't say don't do it. Right? Not that. Be aware when you're driving. Doesn't say you don't drive. Okay, not saying it's a reward, but be aware. There's a lot of traffic on the road at the moment. There's a few things, just watch out for it. Similar principle. That's it indeed. Okay. Yeah, it's bouncing a bit, but I personally think legal loans are pretty similar, but I'm inclining a little bit more to Swissy. So I think there's not a much follow through for a trade, but I'm inclined it might come off a bit if it retakes the 50-day moving average. Technically speaking, it might come off a bit, but any strengthening of the Canadian, the stuff coming out this week, not just for itself, but not just for its own, it will come out with stuff for the dollar as well. I think there might be and that was a little bit of a funding as well of a weakening of the Swiss franc. Remember, or was it the other way around? Forget now. Anyway, that funding coming out, about half an hour or so ago, wherever it was, finally, had a bit of an effect on that, more than technical. So I'm inclined to really, if I had to, maybe sell a bit of a rally, but I'm not going to do any of it. There's too many unknowns in the air, and after the last couple of weeks when the only fund that seemed to have done us any favour has been the Swiss franc. It's the only one that's done, and that was this morning. Every other one has not done us any favours, and that's not skill, that's pure bad luck. You think, I'm going to put it on black, and red comes up. You think, if I keep it on black, red's got to come up sometime, and it doesn't. Well, that's just bad luck. But there's no skill there. You can't put in red every time, got very lucky. What do you get that concept? If you feel lucky, trade before funding comes out. If you don't feel lucky, rather not. Or, as we're going to do on Q3, we'll be sending out details on it. We'll be on the Zoom trading room. Q3 on Friday and Q3 on Tuesday. We'll be doing the non-farms and the CPI. If you want to do the straddle trade I mentioned, those who want to do it. We're still working it out. I'll tell you why we're working out who to send it to. Because sometimes you have a limitation how many people can join. It's not unlimited. And we don't want people who've got Tom and knowledge to make use of it not being able to join, because there's masses of people who don't have money or knowledge crowding it, and it's a waste of time for them, and it's a waste of time for the company, and it's a waste of time for everyone. So they won't be able to do it, won't be able to understand, won't have the knowledge in it, on demos or whatever. That's quite right, wasting everyone's time. So we're debating. We'd like them to get the knowledge to put into action. We don't want guys with a couple $100 in their account coming on to looks like fun, because it's not going to work. So if we can get unlimited amounts, it doesn't matter. Everybody. But if we limit about 100 people, just over 100 people last time, it probably is the guys in the trade room here, or we're not in the trade, probably set the guys who've got a properly funded account. I hope you're all clear on that. Can't be any more diplomatic language than that. Probably could, but I want to get it through to people, because you're not only wasting their time, they're wasting our time with no knowledge, no equipment, and no money. never mind ours, but it's theirs as well. But trying to compete with the top end Mercedes and a broken down bicycle, well, better than walking, but you're not going to compete. It seems to be beyond to get this concept, so I'm getting a little bit frustrated, getting a bit more draconian on it. Right, and it is you want a scalp trade. Now, for scalp trade, remember, scalp means if you know what to talk about, do it. If you don't know what to talk about, don't. Don't grab it. It's a good trade idea. That's a scalp. He's looking at the NZD USD. Okay, now they come out the dollar today. So the Canadian's coming out. No, it's a pound there. So no worries on that sound. Yeah, scalp trade for going along. We talk about here. Yeah, I think probably it's a bit of a range trade for going on. 30, yeah, maybe do that. Where's your stop down here? Maybe a tight stop there, just below. Maybe a 20 pop pip stop or some, just scalp it up to about here, 30 odd pip. Might get a bounce for scalp trade if you want to do that. Nothing major coming out of the dollar today or the Kiwi, so you might get it. You might just get a range trading, small range jump. Okay. Let's check the NASDAQ to see if we're going pretty slowly. Yeah, see what I'm talking about. Remember, guys are worried about these fund days. You are now, because I mentioned it, but it's there and people are worried. It's so many big ones coming out this week. You see, even the NAS has gone a bit quiet. Just bear that in mind. Again, you're still driving the car, but you're aware of the dangers involved. Then when you stop driving, just trying to make people not to frighten, be aware of it. Okay, I'm sorry I do go like a stuck record of this knowledge. Is you cannot do anything if you don't know what you're doing. It will come back and bite you. I don't care if somebody says all you need to do is buy this, you get a signal away you go into the dust, you do that, and you put a couple $100 in, away you go. No, you've still got to make some sort of effort. And anybody's taken the trouble to come in here clearly is a step above. They made the effort. That's good. Actually, I tell you what, guys, just to top me, I think maybe we should charge for it. Because some people psychologically think if the charge it must have value. It's free, can't have any value, and don't bother. They might start saying it. That might be an idea, eh? Obviously, it'll be guys who've been trained for a while, regulars, who say no. They'll give them a sort of a VIP card not to. But it might have an idea of people giving value to it. Because it's often talked about when they have these attendance things. If it's free, everyone comes for the free food, the freebies, the law. You know, that's the problem with people around the world. They're always looking for the freebie. So you attract the freebies, offer nothing and take a lot. But it might be an area where they might say, oh, I'm serious about it if I pay it. Just an idea of things throwing around a bit. Maybe we start charging them. Like, oh, this is all right. No, I'm charging for it. Not to make a buck out of it, to maybe get people to take it a little bit more seriously. What do you think, Ken? Such more pressure on me, I get that, but still, it might get more people joining. It sounds back to front. Think more people join free? No, people value it more. What do you think? It's an idea just thrown out there. Because to get the many people we join compared to our client base, it's ridiculous. And even then, I wouldn't mind if they didn't whinge and said they don't half whinge and yet they don't know. Like a famous one, it says, try to put an order, it says, not enough money. What does that mean? It's all I can do. And I say, what do you think it sodding means? You know what I mean? I've seen guys going like, 1.2 or something on a 400 rand account. They're trying to trade when they're just trying to read a book when you don't know, when you can't read. No, you don't have to be a genius. Far from it. You need to make something. I think not doing intelligence anyway. I think it's making an effort. I think it's the problem. I think they want to make they want to win the lottery, but they don't want to bother to buy a ticket. And that's the problem. What, for the NAS or the NZD one? Which one's that good at? You've got to put down good entry now. It doesn't mean anything. Discussed a few of them. The NAS. Okay. What do you want to do with it? Buy it or sell it? You need information, Kuda. A good idea to go into the NAS as a sell now. That's the sort of thing. You want to buy it. Okay. Well, let's have a look. 1 hour. Range trading on the 1 hour for about 23 pips over the last 3, 6, 7 hours. And there's 12 pip is your cost. 50% commission you're paying to us. You get a Christmas card, is it worth it? So you're going to have to go to the 4 hour. Where are you going to aim at? Up here? It didn't this 4 hour, it didn't the last 4 hour. And if you go back in time, these held as well. So you're looking here on the 4 hour, a range here. Just do the maths, 35 pips, 12 of that is cost. And then you got the risk. Where are you going to put your stop loss down? Here. It's not even a 1-for-1 risk or ratio. What makes you think mathematically it would be good to go in there now? Apart from the fact you've got a feeling. You understand where I'm coming from? I'm not being harsh. I'm trying to get people to sort of see where we're all coming from. That's what I'm saying. It's instructions for your good. Well, the month-to-month one. I mean the monthly one. That's very long term. If you want to buy now and you've got enough money to take it up there, that's 572 pips with a stop down here. That's 572. You might take maybe a 300 pip stop. Yeah, if you want to go buy. I still see, I don't know, the fundamental might screw it up. I still see a short the road, but never mind, you could be right. That means you've got to tie your capital up and you might have to sit there for several weeks to get it going. That's not aggressive, that's longer term on the monthly. Aggressive is when you're doing an hourly or a 4 hour. Anyone want to do a buy at these levels? Can consider I just mentioned. Tell me, anyone thinks that's worth buying now? And just to stay on board, I've just been mentioning. Think it's a good idea to buy there. An aggressive buy there with a 30 pip stop, a 30 pip TP with 12 pip costs. Okay, you like a buy on it, okay? Right. Anyone else want to buy on the NASDAQ? We'll look at it with pleasure. Because Nkosi wants it, so does Kuda. I think it's Kuda. Yeah, Kuda, sorry. Put a buy in. You've got to give me the figures. What figures do you want? And I'll put them in, you can have a look at it. Well, if you know how that works, Pete. If the dollar weakens, this should go up. Its strength, it should go down. If the yields weaken, it should go up. It's inversely proportional, like I mentioned last week. And that will be affected by interest rate fundamentals and Powell. Okay. So you want a bit of buy? What do you want to do? The 4 hour day? You give me the instructions, I'll put up a calculator for you. You know, it might come up with something. But don't forget, if I'm not with you, You should all know how to operate the calculator now. It's quite straightforward. Make sure you get your stop out of the way. And that's going to be a stop of in the region of about 35. That's not going to work. It's too close. So maybe a stop down here. Maybe 100 pip. Even that's tight. I like 200 pips. But anyway, you want to go for a buy on 100 pip. So you can look at least 160 pip TP or even 150, maybe 160. You can be looking up that sort of level. If you want to take it to 12.5 with a stop down here, I'll put it up for you. If that's if you want to do it. And the TP at 12.5. If you want to do that, fine. I'm not going to, but that's what you say. I'm right. I could be. I might. No, I could be wrong. I'm saying that's your choice. That's the micro. It's going to cost you 18 rand a micro. Again, I'm not doing it, but if you like it, that'd be probably a choice you can make if you want to do it. Encourage you to do that. Anyone who want to buy that one of the with the let's bear in mind fund is coming out, etc. Don't forget that. And you could happen, you could do very well out of it. I don't know. But it could actually come back and bite. We don't know. Just bear that in mind. Anyone like it? Think about that. Just going to quickly get them boys. It won't be long. We're going to wait on it. Okay, right. Well, there you are. Could Cozy, anyone else likes it? You can try that if you want. Okay, so, could if you want to do that, you can certainly do that. Put your take profit in and slightly higher if you want TP, whatever. Sorry, SL, whatever. That's not a problem. And you can maybe get the last laugh. And well done. At least you're thinking on your feet and give it a go. That's the most important part. Otherwise, you work it out, you get it wrong, and just go in because it looks like a fun idea and come right. I want skill, not luck involved. So that's fine. Okay, guys, it's coming up to 11 o'clock. I've all got a few things to do this afternoon. Reply to WhatsApp, make a couple of calls, and be back at 4 o'clock. See what we can go. We might get a trade out later on. I really would like to, but and see what we can do. Okay, just bear in mind we can learn a lot this week. But we might get direction from Powell on Tuesday going into Wednesday, and then we might find something going on there. I hope so. But I don't want to get you guys going into something that's smacked by the fundies. Pretty simple than that. Okay, fantastic, guys. See you later. Thanks, Pete. Cheers, Fanny.